In my previous two videos, I talked about what success means for an MMO and what percentage of the MMO player base is hardcore or casual. Both of these are related to this video regarding what does niche mean for an MMO. Because many view a niche MMO as an unsuccessful MMO, but I feel many do not understand what an MMO needs to do to succeed. The comparison is often unfairly done with WoW. The casual versus hardcore debate relates to this video because many view an MMO that only appeals to hardcores as a niche. But in this video, let's attempt to come to our conclusion as to what niche means. To me, niche means completely different things pre-WoW and post-WoW. Pre-WoW and MMO designed like Pantheon or Ashes of Creation would be considered standard. Now those with a WoW-centric mindset might view them as niche. Pre-WoW MMOs really required players to have organized groups. There was no auto-grouping and a lot of content was hard if not impossible to solo, which is kind of what an MMO is supposed to be by definition, a social experience. The current iteration of WoW allows all the content to be experienced without any interaction with other players. Yes, you have to group for LFR, but the difficulty is so easy that you don't have to communicate with the group. This will undoubtedly be controversial, but I would argue that to some extent WoW is not a true MMO anymore, since the entire game can be done essentially solo. Maybe WoW is actually the niche MMO. Any MMO that veers from the WoW formula is often viewed as niche. But we have a graveyard of those that tried to copy the WoW formula and failed. It is hard to directly copy the WoW formula and have the same level of polish and features. It is hard to beat WoW at their own game. The one game that has done that is Final Fantasy XIV, but it took them a long time to get to the level of polish needed to dethrone WoW, and it took WoW's developers making many mistakes. There are some projects with a ton of funding and in their own right were great games, but they did not have much success. SWTOR, Rift, Elder Scrolls Online, all were well made, but because they so directly copied WoW, they never saw the same level of success. You do have games like Guild Wars 2 that tried to do some things different, but Guild Wars 2 tried to be too different, and as a result never saw the success it could have. It tried to overly appeal to the casual side and ignored the hardcore gamers. Then you have those that favored the hardcore and ignored casuals, WildStar, Mortal Online, and many others. I think it is safe to call any MMO that only caters to either casuals or hardcores and not both as a niche MMO. It is also possible that a hardcore MMO could work if one with great funding and polish ever happened. Unfortunately, most hardcore MMOs are very poorly made. So if a game that only caters to casuals or hardcores is niche, then what other qualifications should we assign to a niche MMO? I think level of polish is a factor. I think not adhering to the principles of what an MMO truly is matters. So for games like Ashes of Creation and Pantheon that unfairly get labeled niche, why do I think that is wrong? Well, Ashes of Creation, at least, is very well funded. Pantheon, maybe not as much, but it is too early to say if it will lack polish just yet. Ashes has demonstrated a level of polish in the character creator that suggests they are capable of a highly polished product. But the niche label is often applied because these two games both encourage socialization and grouping. But to me, an MMO that does not encourage those things is not truly an MMO and therefore niche. Ashes and Pantheon are quite possibly the least niche MMOs in development currently, since they meet the standards of what an MMO truly is. WoW and Final Fantasy are quite possibly a different genre altogether. The Riot MMO, it remains to be seen. They have made comments that they want to encourage grouping and want you to play with others in an MMO, which would put it squarely in the not niche category based on my definition. They have also made comments about not wanting to break the mold. If by break the mold they mean not drastically different from WoW, then they might be more of a niche MMO by my definition. I know many will not agree, and I get that, but it is my take, and I encourage others to do the research and make their own educated view. Don't just take my view and make it your own. I hope you got something out of this video. I will see you in the next one. I am finally ready to move on to the Pantheon video after I tackled the niche MMO conversation in the last 3 videos. And then I think after that it's time to do an update on the Riot information. There's been a lot of tweets recently. I'll see you in the next couple videos.